There's a reason why this man is running away from you. Okay, I'm going to share with you 3 reasons as to why men run away from strong women and they pursue feminine women instead. Now, before I share what I'm going to share with you, it's going to be so important for you to understand how men are wired. There is a reason why right now you keep butting heads with your spouse. There's a reason why right now, when you're out there in the dating world, you find this man is drawn to your beauty, and then the moment you start interacting with him, he loses interest. Maybe he's ghosting you. There's a reason why the person you're in this committed relationship with, you feel like you're kind of pushing him, trying to get him to do certain things, to spend time with you, to and there's resistance and there's not a flow. Okay, it all roots back to women who are quote unquote strong. I like to call it women who operate in their masculine energy versus women who are operating fully in their feminine energy, and there's a flow. This man wants to show up. He is drawn to you. He want to be in your presence. You can ask him anything that you desire and he's ready to provide it. Hello. So the first 3 things we have to talk about is how men are wired to the core. And that's to provide for you, okay, to lead you and to protect you. Okay, I'm adding the you in it because I want you to make it personal to you. These are things that men naturally want to do for the women in their lives. Now, what happens when you find the opposite? You're probably looking at me right now saying, well, I'm with someone who doesn't really want to pour into me. That person's not really protective of me. This person is butting heads with me more than he is protecting me and loving me and providing for me and cherishing me. Well, there's a reason why. And we often talk about the choosing. Okay, last episode we spoke about like the power of choosing the right person. But this episode, we're going to talk about what happens when you chose someone who loved you, cared for you. There was romance, intimacy in the relationship, care, and all of a sudden now you're seeing a shift. Well, that shift is not just coming out of the blue. It's because a shift actually took place in the relationship. And we're going to talk about that today. Okay. Now there's 3 powerful reasons why men are running away from women who are hyper independent, operating with masculine energy. I can do it all. And they're cherishing and wanting to do for the woman who's not just living a soft life, because you can act like you're living a soft life. You're taking all these beautiful trips. You're wearing the nice flowy dress, but that conversation with you, you open your mouth and it's like, he's not there. Okay. So I want you to understand femininity has nothing to do with just the looks. Not that it doesn't have a role to play, but it's not just the looks, the flowy dress, the beautiful hat, the beautiful trips, the beautiful makeup and hair and perfume. It's not, if it was that easy, guess what? A lot of women would be in an amazing relationship right now. It's an energy. It's how you show up, like we always talk about, right? So what is the first reason why? The relationship feels more like competition than it feels like there's a partnership. So you have to ask yourself right now, what does your interaction with your spouse or with your partner look like right now? Do you always feel like you have to lead everything? Are you always the one making all the decisions? Do you come up with the plan and execute the plan? Are you always like, you have to ask yourself, right? Because again, think about it. A man will be drawn to the woman that he can pour into, because you have to think about how he's wired. So for example, if he's wired to lead and you're always leading, what room is there for him to show up for you? Okay, not just show up for you. If he's wired to provide and you're doing everything on your own, what room is there for him to do for you? So he won't feel as if there's partnership. He won't feel as if like there's room for him. He won't feel as if like he even matters, because you're showing up in the same energy in which he's supposed to show up. So in a sense, you're doing exactly what he's wired to do. So it feels like more of a competition. It's like battle of the strongest. Like, okay, who's going to do this more? He wants to do it. He's wired to do it and you're already doing it, right? So again, there's more competition than there is contribution. He wants to contribute to your life. He wants to be a part of your life. He wants to pour into you. And here you are taking his role. So that's one of the biggest reasons. A lot of women don't know how to relinquish. They don't know how to step back. They don't know how to let go, because you grew up that way. And if this is you, I don't blame you, because a lot of this behavior is learned. If you grew up, for example, and you felt like you didn't have a father that you could depend on, maybe you were raised by a single mother and you watched her doing everything, right? So there's no blame here. This is something that you've learned along the way and you have no idea how to even lean back right now to allow someone to do for you. Maybe you were betrayed and you're like, you know what? I'm going to do everything on my own going forward because I do not want to be in a position ever again where I'm vulnerable. And now you've learned this behavior. And I could sit here and I can share that with you, that I understand. But the sad part is majority of men, they won't be able to see the reason why you're showing up as such. All they will feel is that there's resistance. All they will feel is that, well, there's no room for me. All they will feel is that competition and that pushback and that resistance. And then it's just going to move on to the woman who has mastered or who has tapped into their feminine energy where they feel like, okay, I can contribute something here. That's number one. Number two, there is a lack of polarity. Polarity is what makes attraction work. Opposites attract, okay? You never have to tell a bee to fly to honey. It's just going to naturally fly to it. There's just certain things that pairs, okay? So if there's no polarity, you're behaving the exact same way. You have the exact same energy as he does. Again, it's going to repel him more than it attracts him. But now let's talk about why. A lot of you ladies are in self-protection mode. You feel like you have to have your guard up, your wall up. Again, you don't want someone to hurt you. Maybe it's rooting from a relationship that hurt you and failed you. And now you're like, okay, I'm letting you in, but I have to protect myself, right? A man's going to feel that because the higher your barriers up, the less he's going to be able to, again, what? Provide and pour into you. Again, provision is not just money. When I work with my ladies, I tell them provision is not just money. Provision is emotional. Provision is that support. Like, can he be there for you? Can he provide that emotional safety? If your guard's up, how can he show up for you? And again, there's no blame. But that's why it matters, ladies, for you to kind of look into the root of it. You're like, man, my marriage is falling apart. My relationship is falling apart. And what you're seeing is his reaction towards you. But I tell people all the time, relationship are mirrors. And so what you're noticing in a relationship is a concoction of what's happening on the inside of you as well. Because how you show up, the wounds that you haven't cleansed yet, the wounds that are still oozing, the wounds that are still speaking, even if it's subconscious, it's going to drive the relationship. It's going to drive your interaction with him. It's going to allow your walls to be up. There's a fear of getting hurt. There's a fear of like all these things that you're harboring on the inside of you. That's what's pushing him away. That lack of polarity. He's going to sense that you're not free, not open, you're not light to receive him. It doesn't matter if you're married. Okay. A lot of women carry those things into their relationships. You know, you want to get to the feminine, beautiful space, but you can't get there without emotional healing, right? All this baggage that has happened in your past is still showing up. And that's why for me, I cannot do surface level work to just tell a woman, this is how you become feminine, but not do the work to cleanse her and free her and remove the load and the heaviness and the burden from her so that she can actually show up in lightness. Femininity is all about flowing in lightness, and the past hurt is going to hold you down like bricks. Okay. So there's a preparation work necessary to get there, but that's number two. Number three is because men also desire a deep connection with a woman. And most women who operate with masculine energy, they have this belief system that femininity is weakness. They think it's people walking all over them. And they think it's just this meek person who doesn't have a voice. And because that's their belief system, they show up in the complete opposite energy because they associate masculinity with strength. And they're like, I don't want to appear weak. I want to appear strong. But what they fail to realize is that a man wants to be with the woman where they can build a strong connection, build that love, build that intimacy, build that deep level conversation. If you're meeting a man who wants something authentic and real, I'm not talking about someone who's out there who's just playing games and they're out here doing their own thing. I'm talking about, because you want to attract somebody amazing, right? And if you're married to a great person, a great man, he's going to want that deep level of intimacy as well. And so when you show up with masculine energy, that wall is up once again. Your belief system is I cannot be vulnerable. Well, guess what? How can he really connect with you? Because again, remember what I said earlier, provision is not just financial, that's part of it, but it's also emotional. So how can a man provide to you emotionally, pour into you emotionally, if you cannot even bond with him because you can't be vulnerable? So if you're watching this video right now, there's so much more that we can say, but I want to keep this very light for you. If you need support through hurt, pain, things that you've gone through that's impacting your marriage, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to support you and get you in a whole different situation with your spouse or the person that you're in a relationship with. Until next episode, God bless.